boys and girls. Today, we are going to have something about the Chinese and the Western music. First, let's get to know Chinese opera. The first question we are going to talk about is the significance and definition of Chinese opera. The significance of Chinese opera lies in that Chinese opera shows the mystery and charm of ancient China. It's regarded as one of the most precious heritages of Chinese traditional music. And the definition of Chinese opera is it is a unique and supreme example of total theater, requiring the most profound refinement of skills in singing, acting, dialogue, dance, martial arts. Okay, here martial arts means 武术 and acrobatics. It combines music, art, and literature perfectly. Now, let's get to know the history of Chinese opera. As you can see from this picture, a large audience were appreciating a Chinese opera. Yes. The Chinese opera began to be enjoyed from early period of the Three Kingdoms. After the Emperor Tang Xuanzong founded the Pale Garden. Okay, here, Pale Garden means, Li Yuan, the first known opera troupe in China. This musical form became more recognized. That is to say, Chinese opera became popular since the Tang Dynasty. And now let's get to know the traditional music instruments used in Chinese opera. Let's see, what are they? Do you know these musical instruments? Yes, erhu. And this one, maybe seldom do you see it, right? Yes, it's gongqin. Yes. And this one you are very familiar with it, right? Yes. Lute, dizi. So these are the musical instruments often used in Chinese opera. And now let's get to know different styles of facial makeup. I think this is the most interesting part of Chinese opera, and many foreigners are fascinated with it. Yes. Okay, in different styles of facial makeup, symbolize a character's personality, role, and even fate. Yes. In terms of colors, a red face represents loyalty and bravery. That is to say, in a Chinese opera, a guy with a red face usually is a good one. Yes, that's it. And as you can see from the picture, this is a black face. So what does a black face symbolize in a Chinese opera? Okay, it symbolizes valor. Yes. And in China, there is a famous saying like this. Okay, that means someone acts as a good one while another one acts as a bad one. And this is a yellow face. This is a white one. And these two colors in a Chinese opera means duplicity. Yes, duplicity. 表里不一. And this is the golden face. This is a silver one. Okay, in a Chinese opera, okay, color, yellow and silver means mystery. Yes. And besides colors, lines also function as symbols. For example, a figure can be painted either all white on his face or just around the nose. The larger the white area painted, the more vigorous the role is. Okay. And now let's appreciate two marvelous acrobatic scenes. Okay, the first scene is, okay, the Chinese opera players can make fire spray out of their mouths when they act as spirits. And the second scene is Chinese opera players can gallop. Gallop means 旋转, while squatting to act as a dove. Okay. These two scenes shows us that 1 minute's performance on the stage takes 10 years practice behind the scenes. So, if you want to be a good Chinese opera player, it takes a long time to practice it. Okay. Now, let's appreciate some regional opera styles. You know, around our country, there are over 300 dazzling regional opera styles. Now, the first one is 昆曲 opera. Yes, it is very famous one, right? Which originated around Jiangsu province. It's a typical ancient opera style and features gentleness and clearness. This enabled it to be ranked among the world oral and intangible heritages. So maybe we can say 昆曲 opera is a representative of the Chinese opera in southern part of China. And the second one is Qinqiang opera. This is from Shanxi, and Qinqiang opera is known for its loudness and wildness. So you can see Qinqiang opera is a typical representative of the Chinese opera in northern part of China. Yes. And Beijing opera, I think this is a very famous one, okay, which features 4 main types of roles. 生旦净丑, yes, has become the most influential opera all over China. And besides the 3 major operas, we still have Henan opera, Shaoxing opera, Huangmei opera, that is what we say, Huangmei Xi. Sichuan opera and Pingju opera. All these Chinese operas are very enjoyable. Now, let's get to know some regional folk music. The first regional folk music we are going to know is in the Mongolian folk music. Yes. Generally speaking, inner Mongolian folk music can be roughly divided into 2 kinds. The first one, as you can see from the picture, that is short tune, and this one is long tune, okay, 短调, 长调. Short tune preceding the long tune. Okay, here, preceding means short tune appeared before the long tune. And it has a relatively short structure, narrative lyrics, and dancing. Long tune, yes, It is due to the shift in the Mongolian lifestyle during the 7th to the 17th century. The new genre of folk music, longtune, took place. Longtune always combines the grasslands and is deeply rooted in the life of Mongolians. And we have 5 types of longtune. Yes, different types of longtune varies on different occasions. There are madrigal, choral, toasting, wedding, and home songs. And now, let's appreciate a madrigal. Okay, yes, after you have watched this part of video, you have experienced or felt Mongolian people's great love for grasslands and lives, right? Yes. Okay, now let's go on with the second regional folk music. This is the Tibetan folk music. Yes, maybe we can say most of Tibetan folk music is closely linked to their religions. Yes. Tibetan folk music is mainly religious music, reflecting the profound influence of Tibetan Buddhism on the culture. The people chant or sing about religious topics. People recite stories, teachings, or histories through songs and chants. And the charm of Tibetan songs originates from its special way of producing sound in the throat, by which the singing echoes in the valleys or reaches people in the distance. The loud and sonorous singing, which has romantic charm. Okay, sonorous means 有节奏的, which has romantic charm, expresses the Tibetans' religious belief and their peaceful minds. That is to say, when we are listening to some Tibetan folk music, you will feel calm, you will feel quiet. And the third regional folk music is Uyghur folk music. Okay, Uyghur. Maybe you are not familiar with this word, right? But if I put it into Chinese, that is yes, this is a very familiar one, right? Yes? What is the characteristics of Uyghur folk music? Yeah, as you can see from the 4 pictures, all the performers are using different instruments, and look at their face. Oh yes, they are always smiling, expressing their happy minds. Yes. Uyghur folk music arises from great deserts and high mountain regions of Xinjiang province. Like the people, the folk music is warm and fun to listen to. Their music and dancing is like a combination of Indian, Turkish, and Russian styles. Their expressions and body movements generally make Uyghur musicians fun to watch. So that is to say, when we are watching weak folk music, we will feel quite pleasant. And the most well-known genre of Uyghur music is mukam, which is characterized by variations and continuity of musical patterns. Here, variations means varieties, 多样性. Continuity means 连续性, okay? Yes, you see, all these beautiful faces are quite happy, right? And mukam is a composite of songs, dances, and folk music, and is characterized by diversity of contents, dance styles, musical morphology, and Uyghur instruments used. And even during their performance of their classic piece, you can see Uyghur musicians smiling and having fun. They're smiling, full of fun. And the last regional folk music is the Dong folk music. Dong folk means yes, Dongzu. Okay. Dong minority group lives in southwestern China between Guizhou, Hunan, and Guangxi. The Dong folk music is renowned for their polyphonic choirs. Okay. You see, a group of performers are singing in a line and wearing the costumes, the same costumes. Yes. In 2009, UNESCO officially listed Dong Grand Choir performances as a World Intangible Cultural Heritage. During some festivals, the villagers gather to perform Dong plays, accompanied by playing Lusheng flutes. Lusheng flutes. Okay, you know this instrument? Yeah, that is Lusheng笛子. Dance and sing. Okay, in these two pictures, the instrument used is Lusheng flute. Yes. And in order to hear their wonderful and interesting choirs, a good time to visit is during their bullfighting festival. This is a very important festival for Dong people. Yes. That is to say, if you want to appreciate their wonderful performances of choirs, the best time to go is during their fighting festival. Yes, this is the theme of their bullfighting festival. Okay, if you want to know more about Dong people's bullfighting festival, you can visit this website. Okay, that's all for today's lecture. Thank you for your attention. See you next week.